The first sample you should start with if you're an absolute beginner is the Load Scene game. Go to the Project Explorer, select the game folder and double-click on the Load Scene game file to open it. Press play in the upper right-hand corner to see what it does. Not much really, it simply loads the scene and sets the camera. Simple enough, so how is it done? Let's have a look at the User AI stack. Select the AI tab from the Properties panel to list all referenced user AIs. As I said before, the common AIs are the ones you can safely ignore, so open the Load Scene AI instead. As you might have noticed, the layout of the editor has changed. In fact, by opening the AI model, we have switched automatically from the design desktop to the code desktop. You can switch desktops at any time by clicking on the selector panel in the upper right-hand corner, but opening script files or models or scenes, etc. will always open the file in the correct ShiVa module on its preferred desktop. Inside the AI, there's only one handler called onInit, which is a predefined handler that will be called as soon as the AI is loaded. There are other predefined user handlers, which you can find by right-clicking on the handler entry, Add Handler, User Handler, but for the moment we are only interested in onInit. Open the script file associated with the handler by double-clicking. Every line of code that has two leading dashes is a comment. Comments will not be executed when the script is run, but they often contain clues as to what the surrounding code is supposed to do. The first command that is executed is setCurrentUserScene, which is part of the application API. It takes two arguments, one for the scene name and one for the content streaming URL. We only need to deal with the first argument today, since the second one defaults to an empty string. All scenes you intend to load have to be referenced in the game itself. To do that, switch back to the Design desktop and select the Scenes tab in the Properties panel. You can add more scenes or remove existing ones by pressing the plus and minus controls on top of the module, or simply by dragging and dropping. Let's have a look at the scene. Among other things, it features a number of predefined cameras. Although they all share the same model file and AI, they have unique name tags which we will use to differentiate between them. Back on the coding desktop, we will use getCurrentUserScene to return a handle to the scene we just loaded. If loading was unsuccessful, the handle will be nil and the subsequent code will crash, so it is important to test against nil before we proceed. Next, we retrieve our camera through its unique name tag and set it to be the current user active camera. Again, we have to check against nil. The other beginner samples are structured similarly. The HUD sample, for instance, loads a 2D UI, which has to be referenced in the Resource tab of your game. The Runtime Model sample creates a model in the scene from a model which has been referenced in the game's Model tab. Music is not played from the game file references, but from a list that is attached directly to the scene. To review all music files in a scene, go to the Scene's Global tab and click on the Music icon. Logging is another essential technique in ShiVa, especially for debugging. You can log in three ways: messages with a standard grey text, warnings with a yellow text, and errors with a red text, which also might stop execution of your program on many platforms.